Welcome, guys, to Pharma101, your guide to pharmacy school and beyond. I want to say congratulations to all of you guys for getting into your first year of pharmacy school and passing your A-levels. My name is Shubi. I'm a trainee pharmacist, and I am the IPSF officer. I'm one of the co-hosts. And then there's Maria.
I'm also your co-host. I'm a trainee pharmacist and your graduate officer, so it's nice to meet you guys.
Okay, so let's meet the rest of the speakers today.
Hi, everybody. My name is Hikma, and I am the Western Area Coordinator. And I am in third year at the University of Birmingham.
Hi, everybody. My name is Iwoma. I'm the IT officer, and I'm a fourth year at UEA, University of East Anglia.
Hi everyone, I'm Romy and I'm the engagement officer and I'm a third year at Keele.
Hey everyone, I'm Shafan and I'm a third year pharmacy student at the University of Huddersfield and I'm the Pennine Area Coordinator.
Hi everyone, lovely to meet you all. My name is Martina. I'm a fourth year pharmacy student at Swansea University and the annual conference organizer.
Hi guys, I'm Erica. I'm the BPSA competitions coordinator and I'm a third year Cardiff University student.
Okay, so thank you everybody for introducing yourselves. So we have a question for you guys. We want to know what universities are you guys going to right now? If you can put it down in the chat, please. So I can see University of Birmingham, I can see Cardiff, I can see another U of B person, Keele, Swansea, Huddersfield. Okay, so let's get into the webinar. So we're going to start off by talking about your journey to becoming a pharmacist.
Sorry, Shubi. I think the chat is disabled.
Oh, the chat is disabled.
Yes.
Okay, so actually we do have a second question for you guys. We want to know so on a scale from 1 to 5, how much do you know about pharmacy and pharmacy school in general? Okay, so I can see that, so around half of you kind of know a bit about pharmacy school, so a little bit there, a little bit not, and then there's a few people that don't know a lot, has some knowledge, some people know a bit more, and I can see one person knows a lot, so that's good. So, but you'll learn more about pharmacy in general and pharmacy school in this webinar. So let's start off with the first topic, which is going to be about your journey to becoming a pharmacist. So with the journey to becoming a pharmacist, it usually starts off with your MPharm degree. And this is your time to learn about the basics of being a pharmacist, so basic topics and things that you need to know as a pharmacist. It usually takes 4 years to complete, but there are circumstances where it will take 5 years. For instance, if there's any Bradford Sandwich Program students here, you'll know it will take 5 years. And this is obviously the time to learn your basics foundations and also not to forget to have fun by going to social events and being involved in the societies. And you also want to gain transferable skills that will help you as a pharmacist. The next step is going to be in year 3. So this is where you register for OREL. And then in year 4, you'll do your actual OREL exam. And this will be explained later in detail in your MPharm degree. And the BPSA also does a webinar about this later on. So basically, Oriel is how you secure your foundation training place. And you guys will be a part of the cohort that actually become independent prescribers, which you will find out about more later on as well. Then you'll complete your foundation placement, and then you allocate a site and then sit the GPHC exam in either June or November. And finally, after successfully passing, which I think all of you guys will, you'll become a qualified pharmacist. So we're going to go into the next topic, which is study techniques.
Hi guys, it's Hikmat back again, and we've just compiled some advice, technique, tips and tricks to support you throughout your degree. So to start off with is flashcards. You guys probably know a bit about the two programs that I've put on the slide, but essentially the purpose of flashcards is to not spend a huge amount of time just trying to absorb information, because as a pharmacist there are things you're going to have to know off the bat like this. So essentially flashcards assist with that. So one huge tip that I do have is make them as you go along. So as soon as you've done a topic, then do the flashcard, because that's when you know the topic the best, and it just doesn't allow, it's better because when you get to the end, you don't have to do all the flashcards. It's very time consuming. So yeah, make them as you go. So two main programs that we've recommended is Anki, which is a flashcard program that uses cognitive science, such as active recall testing and spaced repetition, which I'll talk about more later, to help with memorization. It's used by many students, probably you guys as well in your A-levels. But yeah, it's basically a good way to get information into your long-term memory. Another app that I also use is Quizlet. So you create your own flashcards and you can search up other study sets as well. So you can use other people's flashcards, which is cool. As well, a tip that me and my friends do is we essentially like split up the topics. So I do certain topics, she does certain topics, and then we'll cross-reference, so we make sure we put all the information, and then that's essentially like time, it makes it efficient for your time. That's a tip that I would give to you guys. So an example of an Anki flashcard is this question. So there's a poll put up for you guys right now. So the question is, what is the maximum dose of paracetamol? Please pick one option. It's okay if you get it wrong. You learn more about it in the future. But yes, please answer the poll. Just give you guys a couple of seconds to answer that. Okay, so yeah, so 65% of you guys got it right. Nope, so you got it wrong. The answer is 4 grams. Only one person got it right, but that's fine. So as you can see on the next slide, once you put the question into your Anki flashcards, you get the answer, and on the bottom you can see there's fail, hard, good, and easy. So essentially, depending on which one you pick, will go into the science and the whatever, and then it'll come up either soon or later, depending on yes. So we've got a question in the chat. Can you explain why 4 grams is the max dose? Yeah, so the max daily dose is 4 grams, and you can take paracetamol 4 times in the day, because you got to space them out every 6 hours. Oh, we'll answer the question at the end. Okay. But I've given you a heads up, but we'll answer at the end. But yeah, essentially this is how Anki is set up, and yes. Next slide, please. Okay, so some more study techniques from us. So we highly recommend you guys to incorporate spaced repetition in your studying, which is basically where you review materials at increased intervals. This is very effective and best for long-term memory of the concept/topic. Little and often is good for your brain as well, because it allows things to get converted more effectively and deeply into your long-term memory in little chunks with rest in between. Another tip that we have for you guys is to do group discussion/revision. I really stand by this because it can really help hearing from other people's perspective, other people's explanations of certain concepts, especially if you don't understand something. And explaining concepts to friends is very important, because as a pharmacist, you will have to be doing explaining to either patients or other healthcare professionals. So by practicing this skill now, by the time you get to it, you'll be a professional. And one other tip is strategically creating your study timetable. I know you guys probably have some experience with this, especially in your A levels, but yes, it's very important that you do have you do strategically create your study timetable. Some tips that we do have when approaching this is to plan enough time for each module, to potentially start off with the harder topics that you struggle with, and then that's when your brain is more ready and fresh and ready to go, and then later on you do the easier topics. Another tip is to utilize the odd hours during your day. So for example, if you're about to go out and have the night of your life, let's say you have like 3 hours beforehand, maybe spend like an hour and a half, 2 hours just getting a few studying in. Yes, just utilize odd hours. A few more tips. A key one is balance. Balance is very, very important. So by scheduling by making a plan where you have enough time to enjoy the things that you like, and studying is very important, because things can get very hard very, very quick, and you want to be able to, like sustain yourself throughout the whole year. So plan a balanced schedule. And 2 more tips is give yourself breaks in between your studying sessions and prioritize your tasks.
So looking at the resources that we have all found useful throughout our degree, we have decided to put like a list together of the platforms that we've used the most for you guys. So Ninja Nerd, Speed Pharmacology, and Professor Dave Explains are all YouTube. And then Pharma Drama and the Flashcard Pharmacist are on Instagram. And then Micropharm and Pre-Read Shortcuts have both YouTube and Instagram. So personally, I use the Flashcard Pharmacist the most, as the notes are actually quite condensed and really useful. So I tend to like print it out and stick it on my wall because that's how I learn. And then Speed Pharmacology is really good. So when you need to learn the mechanism of action of your drugs, in the videos, they'll like draw it out as well. So if you're a visual learner, it's quite good for that. And then with Micropharm and Pre-Read Shortcuts, it is more tailored to like trainees, but it's still good if you want to test yourself and apply your knowledge. But just to mention that the Instagram and YouTubers should be used at your own discretion. So they shouldn't be replacing your lecture notes, but use it for your revision instead, like as an aid. But feel free to go through the list to see if it suits your learning style first. Yeah, and then Geeky Medics. So Geeky Medics is different to the other platforms. It's something that I've used throughout university, and it's particularly helpful in counseling patients and OSCEs. So if you haven't come across OSCEs yet, it's basically a clinical examination. So the O in OSCE stands for observed. So you'll be doing something, for example, like taking a manual blood pressure or prescribing. So it's not a written exam. So therefore, if you just read about like how to take a blood pressure, it won't be as effective as, for example, watching the video. And that's why Geeky Medics are quite good, because they'll do like consultations and like how to take, like, for example, a blood pressure or like a resp exam, and they'll go through it step by step in a video, so you can practice that as well. So it's quite good. Again, trial it out, see if it works best for you, and use these platforms as a guide to help you alongside your studies.
So hey guys, moving on, we have exam style questions. So using the content that you're taught in lectures, you create exam style questions based on different components that you've learned. So these could be like compare and contrast, different kind of questions. And to utilize this in the best way, you should look at how your university likes to ask questions. So you look at the previous exam questions and see the question types and how much detail they're looking for as well. And then based on these previous questions and what you've learned, you generate your own questions to answer as a source of revision. And as we put on here, you can use AI to help you with that as well, because it's a very good tool. And then this will hopefully let you cover your whole course in the format of exam style questions, which previous exam questions doesn't really do. And then following on from this, you can actually answer your previous exam questions from your university. So with university, every university is different with how they do the questions. So you're going to have to check with your own university where to find the questions. And on top of that, different universities give answers and different universities don't give answers. So personally, my university does a mix where they, for some of the question papers, they have answers. For some, they have general feedback of maybe like common mistakes and common errors. And then for the majority, they don't have answers. But these are still a good tool to test yourself that you're ready for an exam, and also to tell you how much detail you should be learning so that you don't get not enough detail in the exam room. And you can also align your notes to fit the exam format as well, which is very good.
So the next thing is about things to know as a pharmacy student.
Hey guys, it's Romy again. So we're just going to be covering how to navigate the BNF, practical tips for maths and science, OSCE tips, and placement advice. So to begin, the BNF stands for the British National Formulary, and I'm guessing by now you might have been introduced to it, and it's available online and in paper form. There's also a standard BNF and there's a children's BNF, which may be shown as BNF-C. So it's always important that you clarify the patient's age. If you're looking at a patient that's a child, then you might want to look for the medication in the children's BNF rather than if it was an adult. And then practice using the index with the physical BNF to look up drug names, as this will save you so much time in OSCEs. And the online BNF is an asset that can quickly be accessed, so it's also important you learn how to use that. So here I've got the online and paper BNF. So if we take a look on my left, with the online BNF, all you really have to do is just look up the drug name and it will come up with the indications and doses, the cautions, interaction, side effects. And when using the BNF, the first thing you want to do is look up the drug. With the paper BNF, you'll go to the index, so that's found at the back, and then you look for the dose, and you'll usually find this under the indication. So the indication is basically the reason why you need the drug. So here we've got community-acquired pneumonia, and then from there, depending on your patient, you're going to know what dose you need to use for them, and also make use of all the other headings. I don't know if you can see it properly on the left side, but you've got headings like pregnancy, whether or not they've got a renal or hepatic impairment, and this will allow you to know whether or not you're going to be making any amendments to the recommended doses.
Hey guys, it's Siobhan. I've just got a few things that you should know as a pharmacy student. So firstly, I'd like to start off with maths tips. I'd like to say calculations will be a lot of your maths throughout the entire pharmacy degree. So the first things I'd say is to practice your calculations under time conditions. Your calculation exam and all these kind of things, you won't leave it behind in first year. You'll be following it throughout your entire degree and you'll be using it all the time when you're studying and when you're in practice. So it's not something that'll end in first year. So I'd like to firstly say that practice under time conditions. And like we said before, each university can be different. So some universities for your first year might say that you can use a calculator. Some universities might say that you can't use a calculator. So it's important to specify which it is. If you can use a calculator in your first year, then you are allowed to use it. But if you can't, then you should do your best to not use it in your exam, to try not to practice it try not to practice with a calculator, because it won't be happening now for you guys, but with your GPHC exam, you won't be allowed any calculators. So again, important thing to know is try to practice without a calculator. And again, like with calculations, you're going to be having so many different dosages and different units going on. So you'll be in constant contact, not in first year, but not only first year, but through all of your MPharm degree and in practice. So knowing how to convert and knowing how to do things properly can literally be so important. So it's so important to double check everything that you do. Some scientists that I've got for you guys is, a lot of you guys might have done biology and chemistry. So one thing I need to say first, some people might have a misconception that it'll carry you through your first modules in first year, right? It's the same content, but that's not the case at all. It might help in your introductory lecture, but again, you should be looking at all your lectures. You should be listening to your lectures and things, but you won't be having an extra advantage if you've done biology and chemistry. So it's always important to respect your module and respect all the knowledge there, because there's a lot of stuff to learn. So you should always look through the lectures and look at your lecturers' notes as well. And those of you who haven't done biology and chemistry, I went through a different route. Lots of us in pharmacy have gone through that route before. Not everyone went through biology and chemistry. You're not at a disadvantage as well. So again, you've got your lecture slides, you've got your lecturers to go to help for, and you've also got academic support in each university. It'll be different for various universities, but if you feel like you're struggling, you have so many people and so many resources available to help. So this is really something to know. At the start of your year, you might have already seen it. You'll have your recommended reading for the module. This can be useful for looking up terms and helping to understand, but unlike me, what I did in my first year was just download every PDF. You definitely shouldn't do that. Like, it's just too overwhelming. All the knowledge is useful, but you're going to get yourself confused and wound up so quickly. Again, lots of lecturers say you need to know my lectures. This will get you through your first year. Some lecturers say you might need extra reading, but at the end of the day, don't just dive into the textbook immediately, because it's a different kettle of fish. Go through your lectures first, try and understand it, but if you're stuck on a term, or if you're stuck on a bit on how something works, then you can look through the textbook. And another useful tip, especially for science, is you're going to be looking at drugs all the time. You're going to be learning about all sorts of different diseases. So focus on the mechanisms of the diseases and mechanisms of conditions. So how does it work? How does a disease develop? Once you break it down step by step into what the condition is and how it develops, then you can start to know about drugs. And you can simply see, okay, this is blocking something, this is preventing something, this is increasing something. It just helps to piece everything together as a module, so you don't get just drowning in different terms and terminology. Next slide, please. Oh, there we go. And again, we've mentioned OSCEs before. It's not like your conventional exam, like sitting down in May. It will be very different. Like, most of you probably haven't heard of your OSCE before, or haven't done an OSCE before, but it will consist of different things. So it will be stations. Again, each university runs the course differently, but every university will have at least a counselling station and a dispensing station. Again, you're all going to be prescribers when you finally qualify. Some people like to incorporate that in the first year. Some universities like to do it in the later years. But again, each university has different stations, so it's just important to get ahead of these things first, because your OSCE is such an important exam throughout every year of your pharmacy degree. So it's important to get ahead on that now. But also, because it's not like a conventional exam, you can't just be locked in your room, sat down with all your books and learning it off by heart. You need to, one thing that I found useful was revising in groups, revising with friends and all this sort of different things. Because when it comes to counselling, no matter how much knowledge you have, if you freeze on the day, or if you get a bit confused, or if you get nervous, in that 10-minute space, you might have lost your exam. Don't get too worried about it. But again, it's just the number one thing is to remain calm. Don't be stressed, because sometimes you might not know everything, but so long as you're not stressed out and you stay calm to everything, you can always piece it together. And even if you think afterwards, oh, I think I could have done better, you might surprise yourself. So stay calm with your OSCE. Learn about your OSCE from an early stage from now. Don't leave it until January, February time, because it might be too late. And again, look at how how your OSCE is structured for each university, because each uni has a different teaching style. Right, placement tips. Most of you guys will be going on placements, or you'll have heard of them. Some of these placements start for later years, or most of you, I know my university started my placements in very first year. And again, for all of you, punctuality is very important. Like, make sure you're on time with your vendors or who's doing your placement. And again, we all have lives. If anything was to happen, or if there are any circumstances which do occur, then notify your placements ahead of time. Don't just call in sick or just not turn up. Notify them ahead of time and they'll understand. With placements, you might feel out of your depths or something, or thinking, I don't know much. It's so important to be proactive and be eager to learn. You might not know much. Like in my first placements, I didn't know much, but I was always asking questions. I was always trying to do more. I was always asking for help with the pharmacist and trying to speak to them. So it's important to not convey that you don't have knowledge, but you're giving yourself the persona like you know what you're doing, if that makes sense. And again, you'll definitely hear this time and time again, but pharmacy is a small world. With your placements, it's so important to have the right impression, because sometimes people get jobs or people get offered jobs from their placements. So again, it's not imperative to get a pharmacy job, but it can be useful for counselling patients. So with your placements, don't try and kill your time, but make the most use out of it. And again, you'll speak to, you don't have to just speak to the pharmacist when you're in a pharmacy. You might think, oh, this is what I'm going to be, this is who I need to know and speak to and be friends with. No, you should speak to the whole team and learn how the whole dynamic runs, because it will help you understand things better. And again, we get told it helps understand the struggles of dispensers and things. Like, you don't want to be piling their workload so much, or you might not realize that you're making life difficult for them. So again, it's important to speak to the whole team when you're on placement. Always remain proactive and be eager. Always be punctual, make nice, good first impressions, and ask questions. I'm not one for asking questions, and I'm sure a lot of you aren't either. But when you're unsure about something, just be honest, because you're in first year. Even if they think, oh no, he might not know what he's doing, it's so good that you ask, because they know that you're being honest, you're being transparent, and at the end of the day, it only benefits you. They know you're a student and you're not expected to know everything. So again, just enjoy the placement, because it can be really fun and you'll remember it. Thank you.
Okay, so we now have extracurricular activities.
Okay, guys, so despite the degree being quite intense and filled with so many opportunities, it's still great for you as a pharmacy student or as a student in general to get involved with extracurricular activities that could enhance your professional development, but also in terms of your transferable skills, many of which are required of pharmacists. So the first of this is research projects. So during your MPharm degree, you will complete a mandatory research project in the form of dissertation, but it will probably be in like your third or fourth year, so towards your final year, so nothing to worry about now. But as a first year, now starting your pharmacy journey, it'll be great if you can get involved in some research projects offered either by your university or external pharmacy associations. Simply because through engaging in research projects, you get to learn the discipline that is research. You get to learn the skills that are required and surrounded with within research, such as academic writing, such as literature reviews and literature searches. And also, if you are doing a lab-based research project, then you can get to learn different skills about lab techniques and also risk assessment. And I know, having done my third year research project in a lab, I know it would be much more useful and helpful for me if I had gone back and actually been able to do a lab research project beforehand, so that I can learn the skills such as risk assessment, which took a majority of my time for my project. Another great thing to get involved with is summer placements and internships. So obviously, the pharmacy degree program is quite placement heavy, as Shafan has mentioned, and you will get involved with a lot of placements, which will give you the hands-on experience. However, if you engage in additional summer placements and internships, one, you get paid in the process, and two, it also gives you that extra opportunity to learn more about the future profession that you're going into. You will also maybe be able to get involved with different sectors within pharmacy and be able to get your hands involved in different aspects, so you can also get a wider perspective of what's available for you as a pharmacy student and future pharmacist, and hopefully help you decide which sector you want to go down when you eventually do qualify. Scholarships and bursaries. So this is a big one in terms of most universities and some external companies, associations, pharmacy associations. They provide scholarships and bursaries for pharmacy students. This is an opportunity for you to get extra funding, to go to maybe, you can use it towards maybe going towards placement, or even going to conferences, or even just allowing yourself to get an extra bit of cash, which is obviously great. One example is a locum £1,000 scholarship, which is available for fourth or final year pharmacy students. So that's something that you guys should obviously take note of and, you know, apply when the time comes by. And one thing that's great about certain scholarships and bursaries is that you actually don't have to pay it back, unlike your student finance loans. So it's a great way for you to get extra cash, as well as, you know, also expanding and creating opportunities for yourself. Competitions and awards. So this is a great way for you to get additional content for your CV or for your LinkedIn, but also for you to expand and you know, explore your creative sides. So in the previous years, the BPSA, for example, we hold a lot of competitions. We hold poster competitions, essay competitions, group competitions, and they allow you to kind of explore maybe a subject or a topic within pharmacy that may be of passion to you, which isn't necessarily explored in your MPharm degree program. It gives you that extra view on life, as well as the pharmacy career, and allows you to basically get to develop new skills, explore your creativity in the process, and win awards, which obviously is great as well. One of which we actually have launching very soon is a Black History Month competition, and the prizes for that are a £25 Sahara Smith voucher and a chance to feature in the BPSA's publication. So look out for that. It's also a great way for you to also practice your academic writing when it comes to publications. So yeah, have a look out for that. Another thing that you can get involved with is webinars. So like this one here, in the comfort of your home, you can be educated, learn something new, and write a CPD or continued professional development on it, which you guys will probably learn about very soon. And then, so with webinars, they allow you to, as I said, look at a range of topics. So in previous years, for example, the BPSA have held webinars on like clinical decision making, calculation practices. Also hearing from a range of pharmacy speakers, just to, you know, advise and also share wisdom to us as pharmacy students. And then the big one is conferences. So conferences are a great way for you to network and meet with future employers, but also colleagues. Shafan recently mentioned just now that the world of pharmacy is really small, and what you'll come to find out is actually a lot of the conferences that you go to, you might find that people are very interconnected because they know everyone who's there, because that's how the world of pharmacy is. When you know one person, you end up knowing a whole tenfold more people. So it's really important that you do get involved with conferences, because the world of pharmacy is small. We're all going to be each other's colleagues, or maybe even in future employers. Lord knows where we're all going to end up. But by attending conferences, you get to not only meet future meet people, but you also get to network with current pharmacists and get to hear of their stories, hear how their journeys, how they made it to the place that they are, and it provides inspiration, whilst also learning a new topic as well. The BPSA, we have a lot of conferences. We have the area conferences. So by now you probably would have had your roadshow at your universities telling you about how the BPSA is split into different areas, because obviously we cover a large geographical area. So each area has at least 2 conferences per year. So we have an autumn one, so and the spring one, and the autumn one is slowly approaching. So do have a look out on our pages for details about your nearest conference. And then the big conference that the BPSA holds, one which I am blessed enough to be organizing, is the annual conference. And that is the big, not to be missed event of the year. It's the flagship event of the association. 1 week spent with socializing, networking, getting to know other pharmacy students. The testimonies that come from our annual conference are long, to say the least, for lack of better English. And there's, I know people who've got secured job internships, summer internships from them, who've gone on to work in specific places from them. So it's a great way for you to get to know other people, meet employers, and also get inspired for the future of pharmacy. Obviously, all of these things I mentioned, I've focused on the BPSA because we offer a lot of these things, but do look out, because there might be other companies as well that also offer this. And then there's also international pharmacy opportunities that you can get involved with, and I will leave that for Shibri to talk about.
Hi guys again, and as Martina said, there are international opportunities for you guys. So there's two associations I have on the board. Is the IPSF, which is the International Pharmaceutical Student Federation, and I am the IPSF officer, so I am technically the contact person for this. And then there's EPSA, which is the European Pharmaceutical Student Association, which I won for Anna, who isn't here now, but she is the liaison for that association. So these two are basically like international versions of BPSA, but they run as countries instead of just in the different cities and universities. And what we have on the slide here is to talk about the flagship events. So for IPSF, we have the European Regional Symposium, which will be happening next year, July, and it'll be happening actually in Newcastle and Edinburgh. So it'll be a wonderful opportunity for you guys to go, usually because they tend to be in Europe somewhere, but this time you guys can come because it's just local. And then we have the World Congress, which will be happening in Kenya. Then for EPSA, there is the annual Congress, the annual reception, which is free for you guys, and the autumn assembly and summer university. There are more activities, projects, and things to get involved with both of these associations. And if you watch our social media pages, which we have put the QR code on there, you can see more of these events, webinars, or even just projects that you guys can get involved with. And then I'm going to go into the next slide.
Yes, so back to the BPSA. If you're wondering, how can I get involved? I want to be part of the team. These are ways you can essentially get involved. So to start off with, you could apply to become a BPSA representative. Essentially, there's one rep from each year from each university, and you'd work with each other on projects, and you'd be part of the team of like area coordinators, and you can also apply to become a BPSA liaison. So essentially there's one liaison from each university, and you would lead the team of reps at university, and essentially be part of the area coordinator team. Applications for both of those are open. They do shut on Mondays, so guys, run, don't walk. It's a great thing to put on your CV. Good way to get involved. Highly recommend. And if those two don't tickle your fancy, you could also join one of the subcommittees. So we have subcommittee for competitions, engagement, and IPSF. So essentially you'd work with the executive members. So for competitions, you'd work with Erica. For engagement, you'd work with Romy, and IPSF, you'd work with Shubi. On various projects and things. I highly recommend. Applications for all of these are open now. If you want any direction, just go into our Instagram, the link tree in our bio. You can get more information about that, and if not, you can go to our website. Yes, so probably my favorite slide. So now more information about other extracurricular activities. So you're probably thinking, yeah, okay, I do pharmacy. Oh yes, Paul. So guys, have you joined any extracurricular activities before I get into it? Yes, no, no, yes. We'll leave it on there for a couple of seconds so to see what the vibe is at the moment. Lovely. Okay. Okay, quite balanced. Okay. Most of you, yes, some of you know. That's fine. Hopefully we can convince you guys after our webinar to join lots of different things. But something that we do highly recommend is to potentially get into try a different sport or watch other sporting activities at university. On the screen, as you can see, there are beautiful pictures of our executive members. So that's me in the red dress. I play netball. You can see Mrs. Engagement Officer with her pom-pom. She does cheer. Our vice president in his whole like outfit, posing. And our IT officer lifting weights. I can't even count. But I wanted to put these pictures up on the slide so you guys can see that it's possible to balance a pharmacy degree and extracurricular activities, and joining a sport is a great way to do that. And if that's not your vibe, you could also join some societies at university. There'll be probably something for you, or you can try something new as well. Myself, I actually tried Muay Thai, Thai boxing last week, which is something really fun. I don't know if I'd carry it on, but it was really fun. But yeah, there's examples on the screen. You can join cultural societies, academic and employability societies like FarmSoc, religious societies, hobbies and societies for hobbies and interests. But yeah, I'll just really highly recommend you guys to join things. It's great way to clear your mind. But yeah, thanks.
So now we're just going to move on to one of our last sections, which is general tips.
Okay, thank you so much, guys, for bearing with us this far. So this bit of the presentation, we just kind of wanted to provide you guys with some general tips. As you kind of gathered from the introduction, our executive members are at different stages within their pharmacy degree. So we're hoping that with these tips, it will not only help you to get through, your first year of pharmacy school, but we're hoping it will carry you throughout. So before I kind of get into the tips, I just want to say to you guys that this year is the year of just kind of giving yourself grace. You've just kind of come from A levels, which is a completely different environment from university. And what we would like to say to you guys is just first year is really that year to see what sticks, try out different things, try out different study methods. When we emailed this presentation out to you, go in your own time and kind of see whichever works out for you. Try out different methods of organization, how you would like to organize yourself throughout this academic year. It's really the time to kind of try out different things to build up that solid foundation so that when you do progress throughout pharmacy school and, the workload becomes more and it becomes more intense, you have that foundation that will kind of set you up well, rather than kind of not taking the time to make those mistakes and try out the different things and in turn, pharmacy school might end up being a little bit more stressful than it needs to be. Okay, so like I said before, university is a massive step from A levels. And I think one of the main differences that you guys will realize is, lectures at college, you don't really college or sixth form, it's lectures is not a thing. But obviously coming to university, attending lectures is a huge part of university culture. And we can understand that sometimes with lectures, you're sat in these massive halls with expected to kind of digest huge chunks of information. So one of our tips to you guys would definitely be to make absorbing that information easier. Just try your best in whatever way to engage fully with the lecture and kind of fully immerse yourself in the lecture, whether that be through asking questions. Never be afraid to ask questions during lectures, guys. It's better to ask the question and get it ironed out there and then, rather than progressing to exam season. You've got all the other content to revise and then realizing that there's a concept that you don't understand. Or even if you are shy to put up your hand there and then, when the lecture's finished, go down, have a chat with the lecturer. Most of them are like really friendly. They are always eager to kind of speak to students who are eager to speak to them. So it kind of goes hand in hand. Never leave a lecture with that niggling feeling of you not understanding a concept. Also alongside that, definitely when there are opportunities to kind of speak to your peers on different I don't know how different lecturers do different things differently, but at Cardiff, some lecturers do give the opportunity for you to kind of speak amongst your peers, whether it be through, answering questions on the board and just kind of talking through answers and stuff. So definitely try your hardest. Again, throw things at the wall, see what works for you to engage with, because it makes learning the content easier afterwards. Then the next tip we had for you guys was just to make sure that you're staying organized. A key part of success at university, and definitely pharmacy school, is organization. Whatever works for you, physical planners, digital planners, both, calendars, to-do lists, whichever helps you to stay on top of your deadlines. Just try your hardest to do it, because you'll definitely thank yourself come exam season. And it's time to kind of unpack all of the knowledge that you've learned in the past academic year. Next, we wanted to just tell you guys to build a supportive community around you. Pharmacy school is not an easy degree. Pharmacy is not an easy degree. So we highly urge you guys to build that community around you, whether it be people in your course, whether it be people that you kind of attend your society sessions with, or whether it be your housemates. These are people that are kind of going through the same experience as you. So you kind of have people to kind of relate to. And when the going does get tough, you have people that can kind of give you advice and to lean on, who understand exactly what it is that you're going through. Definitely do not isolate yourself at university, because it makes things a lot harder. Then I wanted to just say to you guys to definitely make the most out of your university resources. At university, there is so much support available for you guys, from, you know, career services to counseling to academic support. These resources are here for you guys. You are paying 9K, so utilize all of the resources that the university has for you. Like, don't be afraid to use any of the services, any of the resources. Definitely make the most out of them. And then finally, embrace feedback and learn from mistakes. As I said before, university definitely, especially first year, is that time to make those mistakes. I think it takes about 3 months for a habit to stick. So just keep trying and embrace the feedback that you get, whether it be from your peers or your lecturers. It's completely fine to make those mistakes and kind of take and learn from those feedbacks and keep moving forward. Every piece of feedback is definitely a stepping stone to becoming a great pharmacist. So don't shy away from feedback that you do get from lecturers. And we also created a slide for international students. Don't worry, we did not forget about you guys. We can empathize with the fact that, you know, not only are you kind of experiencing the whole chaos of university and higher education, but you're also, you know, in a foreign country, far away from home. So we've collated a list of kind of a few general tips that, like I said before, they've come from executive members who are on different walks on their journey to becoming pharmacists. So some of these things aren't things that you will need to consider now, but definitely a shout to kind of look through them and see whichever applies to you. But before I get into those, I just wanted to kind of speak to you guys about pharmacist support. If you see on the bottom right-hand corner, there's a QR code to scan. So Pharmacist Support is the profession's charity, and they do all the services that apply to, you know, home university students. You can access as an international student as well. Their services include, you know, financial assistance, specialist advice, well-being, counseling and peer support, information, and just general inquiries. So if you did want to kind of find out more about pharmacist support and what they can do for you as an international student, sign that QR code. But just for general tips, if you are kind of thinking about, you know, picking up a Saturday job, definitely look into getting your national insurance number. Without your national insurance number, you won't be able to work. And also, just along the subject of working as well, just making sure that you're not violating your, you know, visa and work limits. read the terms and conditions of that, and just make sure that the hours that you've been contracted to does not violate any of those work limits as well. Alongside that, definitely, you know, get registered with the GP. I believe that once you do get registered with the GP, you do also receive your NHS number, which you can then use to kind of access healthcare services within the UK. So hopefully, touch wood, you won't need it, but just in case anything does happen, then you can access the healthcare services available to you. And just like I said before, about kind of building a community and utilizing university resources, there are student services within the university that are specifically, you know, are there to kind of work with you guys as international students and aid you guys with the help that you need. So definitely make all the friends at university, guys. Build your support, build your support community. Definitely reach out to student services if you need it. They are there to help you. But no, that's everything from me. So thank you so much for listening. Hand over to Shubi or Maria now.
Okay, thank you. Just want to say thank you to everybody that spoke. And we basically have now the Q&A section for you guys. So guys, all the questions that I've been seeing popping up in the chat, it's time to say them and do that. But actually before, we actually did want to ask again, because you guys didn't have the opportunity to, but to put down what university you're from. So Maria, could you put back on the poll so it could be put back on? Let's see. Okay, sorry guys. So in the chat, if you could you put down what university you guys are from? So I see Cardiff, see UCL, see Swansea, I see Keele, I see Liverpool, John Moores University, Huddersfield, UEA, UCL, Manchester. Oh, this is for life, yeah. Fantastic mix. I agree, Maria. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for coming as well, especially because it's like our first webinar of the year. So I'm really happy to have you guys all here. And we can start with the questions. Let's see. Let's see what the first question was. I think the first question was towards Hikmat, but Hikmat, you already answered that one. Remember the paracetamol one?
Yes, I think Maria wanted to emphasize the answer because you know
Maria.
she's a trainee, so she's more qualified than me.
Yeah. Okay, Maria.
Hi guys, sorry. It was just because the question was, so why is the max dose of paracetamol 4 grams? So, in a normal patient, the normal dose would be 1 to 2 tablets every 4 to 6 hours when required, or you take it regularly depending on what you're using it for, right? So, paracetamol, it's broken down in your liver, aka metabolized. So it's converted into non-toxic products, right? Which is fine. But a small percentage will be converted into a toxic product. But at low doses, that will be neutralized by an antioxidant that you have inside you. But at high doses, so above 4 grams, that toxic product will not be neutralized by that antioxidant, and so it'll build up, and eventually it will cause your liver to have toxicity and can eventually lead to liver failure. And that's why when you want to give paracetamol to a patient, the first thing that you'll check is their liver function and their tests. And the reason why it's 4 grams is because it's based on like clinical trials and like studies that they've seen. So yeah, that's the answer.
Thank you, Maria. And then see the next question. So yeah, I hope you guys have noticed that Maria has been putting in the links kindly for you guys to go and join any competitions that are going on, maybe apply to some subcommittees. Obviously follow us on our social media. It'll be really nice. And you guys can also watch our space to see what we have coming up for you, because exciting things will be happening. So I think the next question, I'm just going to follow what Maria put here. Extracurricular activities, any exec who has joined them before. So I think we should start with Hikmat.
Yeah, so was the question just is there any extracurricular activity that we've joined before? Is that the question?
I think so.
Okay. Yes, so I have done quite a few, I feel like. So I do netball. I've attended some yoga society sessions. I am on the committee for how to I'm so sorry. Thank you for stopping me from rambling on. No, it's okay, no worries about it. Yeah, so for me, I would just go to my student union website and search up the student groups, and then you can become a member through that. You can also get their social medias and stuff. So what I would do is search that up on student union, the student group, get their probably like their Instagram or their other social media, DM them, um, DM them my question of how to join, etc., and then go from there. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, I have another question here. It's giving us some background as well, so I'll just read it out. I make Anki cards after each lecture and sometimes notes before the Anki, as notes help me understand. Sometimes I find that I have so many cards to review by the end of the day, as well as making new cards for the day's lecture and revising mini tests. I want to ensure that I go through my Anki properly and not to rush it, but it does build up. Have you got any tips for this? So anybody feel free to come on the mic and give tips.
Hi, thank you for your question. I also use Anki, and I found the same, especially when I got to about second or third year when it was mainly clinical content. I think the thing that I did personally that tried to kind of reduce the content or per deck was splitting up the lecture. So for example, for our hypertension lectures, we do clinical, we do chemistry, and then we do the biology. So for the chemistry, let's say they taught us about one class of hypertensive drugs, then I wouldn't make the whole lecture hypertensive or the whole deck hypertensive drugs, but I'd rather do each class and make one deck for each class. So basically split up the lecture and maybe per the sections, because most lectures do have a structure that you can kind of split into, and then from there make individual decks for those lectures and for that one lecture or those sections, and then put it into a folder or maybe a subfolder into a bigger folder. That way it's easier to control the size, and it doesn't become 50 cards that you're going through, which is I can relate, is very long. Hope that helps.
Yeah. So yeah, some wonderful tips from Martina there. Definitely trying to utilize your time. I understand, I can relate. Obviously now I've graduated, me and Ria can relate in terms of the struggle of going through lectures, but honestly, everybody's been there. Don't worry about it. And obviously this year is your year to obviously get into routine of things as well. Let's
Just
see.
for the extracurricular activity question, does Iwoma or Martina want to add?
I just wanted to add really quickly because I noticed Jane was a Swansea student.
Oh.
So I just like specific advice if that's okay. So for Swansea, you join all the societies through the student union. So I'm not sure of the link, but if you just type in Swansea Student Union, the web page will come up, and then if you go to what's going on in the 3-tab corner, and then it will just give you the list of societies. There's so many differences. I think there's about 150 plus societies that you can join at Swansea. I'm pretty sure it's similar for every other uni as well. But then if you click on the society you want to join, they split up into academic and employability, much like what we did in the slides earlier. And then you can just click on it and then add your membership depending on how each society runs their membership. You can add their membership to your basket, and then if you have to pay, you pay. If not, then you proceed to check out, and then it'll process your membership for you, and you're officially a member of the society. One thing when it comes to getting memberships is also it's really important that you follow their Instagram pages, follow their socials. If they have a mailing list, add your name to it, just so you're in touch with what's going on with the society, so you're not just getting the membership and it's just sitting there, but you're actually engaging with the society as well and taking full benefit of it. Hope that really answers your question as well.
Thank you so much, Martina. I think Iwoma also had something to say as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, if you have a specific sport or society activity that you're really passionate about or you really want to be involved in, and you've checked your university and they don't have that at all, it's always good to research around it, and you can try join it externally. And on top of that, you can try to create the society or the sport club on your actual SU, and bring it to your university. So I know with me and my powerlifting / weightlifting, like in my first 2 years, we didn't have any powerlifting or weightlifting clubs. But then last year, we finally created a society. So now we can do it part of the uni as well. So yeah.
And then I think I missed Shafan out for the extracurricular question as well. So yeah, thank you for that, Womack. Shafan, you can always come on the mic to add your 2 pence.
Thanks, guys. I know we're saying a lot, but like it's important that you guys know this now. Huddersfield isn't the most active university. Some are more active than others, so it's really about being proactive. Again, all the student union websites will have it on there, but it's so important to not just look at them, but to start following the Instagram pages like everyone said, and start looking at it for yourself, check your emails, look through all the different events and opportunities that are coming up, because unlike in school, unlike in A-levels or something, no one will be sending you emails and telling you to join this or to join that. You're all adults now, so it's all up to you. So again, it's about being proactive, and it's about looking at the different ways to join. And like Awoma said, if there's something really passionate, like I know my university's got a Harry Potter society. I hate Harry Potter now, but again, if you're really passionate about something and your university doesn't already do it, you can always make it yourself with a few people to join you as well. So it's about being proactive.
Exactly. Thank you, Shafan. I think so. I have another question here. I found it quite hard to understand the biology part of the course. Oh, microbiology, as I didn't do A-level biology. Can I ask, are there any things that I can do about this? So who wants to answer this question?
So there's lots of resources available. So for microbiology in particular, if what I do, if I'm stuck on something and I have no idea, I'll check on YouTube. So especially again with YouTube, it's really easy if you're a visual learner as well, because it'll draw it out for you depending on the video. But yeah, have a look at YouTube. If not, if you let your university know, and the lecturers should be more than the lecturers should be able to provide you resources or like reading lists to help you with your microbiology. But yeah.
Thank you. And I think there is a question about placements. I think, Erica, you wanted to answer this question.
Yeah, I am really happy that you asked this question, because when we were kind of doing our run through, that was one of the questions that we had anticipated getting. So thank you for asking, Maddie. Oh, sorry, Mahdi. Excuse me. But in terms of increasing your chances of getting placement in or a job in industry, you've definitely come to the right webinar, because we've got so many things in the pipeline that can assist with this. We've got our Science into Practice kind of conference in the planning stages. And this is essentially an event that gives pharmacy students the opportunity to kind of speak to professionals and pharmacists in the pharmaceutical industry, kind of pick their brains a little bit, find out, you know, how they got there, different opportunities that they took up whilst they were in pharmacy school to kind of get to where they got to. So definitely attend that, whether it be it's still in the planning stages, so whether it be via a webinar or in person. We're hoping for in person, but definitely keep your eyes peeled for that. And then also just if networking, I remember, I think when I was in my first year, just reaching out to people who worked at GSK just to find out a little bit about their job. People I've noticed, especially in the pharmaceutical profession and just our profession in general, people are really nice. They are always willing to kind of help out the next generation of pharmacists, and Also, along with this, the RPS also has I don't know if anyone wants to put the link in there for me in the chat box, but RPS also has a membership, a mentorship program where you can kind of sign up to, you know, be mentored, and you can kind of tailor your you can select a mentor that's in the industry, and kind of put your goal is to, you know, have work experience within industry. So there's so many things that we offer as part of BPSA, and then also RPS, that to kind of help students on the right track to, you know, reaching that goal of becoming or working in the pharmaceutical industry. But I don't know if anyone wanted to add on to that.
I'll add my 2 pence, because I did do a placement in industry during the summer. It was an internship. Basically, yeah, I would say everything I just echo everything Erica said. It's definitely important to put yourself there. And I also say going to their conferences as well. You don't know who you're gonna meet for a chance of an internship. I think a few of the pharmaceutical companies do work experience days or work experience weeks as well. So you might want to look into that. And also your university is probably going to be your best port of call, because a lot of universities have partners with these companies. So they tend to have some kind of connection. So if you just communicate that to maybe your department lead and be like, oh, hey, I'm interested in this X, Y, and Z, you'll probably be able to find how to obviously contact the necessary people. Also, LinkedIn, like Erica said, once again, LinkedIn is very important, because you will see a lot of early hire resources managers are on there. So they're always scouting for people. So you can even just private message them and say, I'm looking for an opportunity, and I want to see if you guys can offer me anything. And yeah, you probably might get something. And also programs. There's one that's called the 10,000 Black Interns, which is quite a big program right now, as well as growing very massively. And a few of us have been involved in it before, and it's a really good program if you can. And I think there's going to be more to add from Romy.
Yeah, without like repeating everything everyone said, LinkedIn is so useful. Like, I did an internship in summer in a pharma company, and I literally got it from messaging someone on LinkedIn. And I guess to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, the RPS mentorship program, because I also had an RPS mentor in pharma, is so useful as well, because he was able to like look through my CV, give me interview prep tips as well. And you can usually just, I think Erica's put it in the chat, but yeah, you usually just go to the RPS website and then apply, and you can like tailor it to whether or not you want one in academia or in industry, and in different areas in industry, or even clinical pharmacy as well. So yeah. I think also, in addition to 10,000 Black interns, I'm pretty sure they have 10,000 able interns as well. So they're basically looking at allowing people to get internship opportunities who come from like disadvantaged or stereotypically disadvantaged backgrounds. So it's definitely something to get into. Into science as well, usually do something as well. Yeah.
Thank you, Romy. And I think Awoma as well wants to add something to the study methods question. So Awoma, come up on the mic.
Has that question been opened? Is this the flashcards one?
Oh yeah, the flashcards one, yes.
Yeah. So I was gonna say that one revision tip, which was on my slide, was the exam style questions and creating it yourself, because that's a very useful way to test that you've learned enough detail about your the different components within your course. Because one thing that happens when it comes to pharmacy exams is that you can go into the exam and you look at the question and it looks completely alien, because maybe it was based on one slide, or maybe there were no previous exam questions on that. So it's quite hard to answer. So if you create your own exam questions based on every single aspect of the course that you've learned, then no matter what comes up in the exam, it's not going to be alien to you, it's not going to be new to you, and you should like have practiced writing down enough detail and being able to answer them kind of questions as well, which comes after you've learned the content through like flashcards and stuff.
Thank you, Oma. I'm just noticing I've missed some of the Q&A questions. Sorry, guys. I've seen a question about how to revise semiotic exams as there's little to no mock papers. I think this question was kind of covered in our webinar, but I'm just going to maybe have Shafan answer the question since he did talk about something like this.
So sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
So how to revise for semiotic exams as there is little to no mock papers. So basically having no papers.
Okay, yeah, so like not having papers again was a big shock. Like revising for synoptic exams can be a bit of a pain. But like I said before, with A levels, you'll have your set syllabus and everything to know. And they say you can look at this book and that book and all sorts of different things. But the important thing is your lecturers will have your lecture notes, and some of them will, most of them do say, learn my lectures, because that's what will be on the exam, that's what will be assessed. So when you don't have mock papers as well, it can be a bit of a pain. Some people like to revise specifically just by making questions for each lecture. So that's one option, like making questions for each topic. And then again, ChatGPT, this is where it can be useful. Like to make a question or to ask you a question, it can be useful, but we're not saying that you should be using ChatGPT because I don't trust it anymore. It is very unreliable. But for making questions for mock papers and things, AI can be helpful. For your revision tips, making your own questions on it. And for synoptic exams, again, it's always about recall with synoptic exams and looking about all your stuff. So not just for first year, but when first year finishes for you and you move on, don't just abandon all your first year notes because it will come back for you and you'll have to remember these things again. So I hope that kind of helps answer your question.
Okay, thank you, Shafan. Romy also wanted to add a bit to this question.
I can relate to not having past questions for our synoptic exam, and especially because in my uni, it was like a panel exam. So one thing I did was through your PharmSoc, literally contact second year, third year, fourth year people who have already gone through it, and they'll know advice specific to your university. And also a lot of like, at least for synoptic assessments, a lot of lecturers will offer drop-in sessions. So I think, again, it depends on how your uni do it. We did ours as like a group project, and then it was a panel later. But yeah, attending the drop-in sessions as a group is very, very key. Yeah.
Thank you, Romy. So I have one question here saying, how do I join the BPSA Accept team? It looks like a big family. Yes, it is. So basically, Hikmah has already gone through the different subcommittees that you would have heard of, and obviously please apply BPSA Rep, BPSA Liaison, Competitions Subcommittee, Engagement Subcommittee, IPSF Subcommittee. Please apply, and that's how you can be a part of us. And also, if you're thinking about being obviously by exec family, basically when you come to annual Congress, you'll come and basically other fellow delegates will basically elect you into the role. So you'll give like a motivation speech and you're proposed by somebody, and somebody will be second proposed that person, basically saying that, oh, they think you are a very good candidate for the role. And a second person has also agreed. And then you'll give your speech before people will obviously vote for you or vote for whoever they feel that's best suited for the role. And you will hear more about obviously the process later on, because we will have our wonderful annual coordinators talking about AC and more details about what is to come. But that's essentially how you can become part of BPSA exec team. And that would obviously become annual conferences in April. So you again hear more information later on. Let's see. Also, please apply to subcommittees. I want to also reiterate that because applications will be closing soon. So the timelines and deadlines are escaping my mind, unfortunately, but please go to our website, our BPSA, obviously Instagram page, where you'll be able to click on the link tree and see all those applications, also details about what would be required for that role, what you will be doing throughout the year under those subcommittees.
Just to add as well, reps and liaisons, application shuts on Monday, guys. Run, don't walk. Join our team. It'll be great. You have fun, etc. check our Instagram bio or our website. I think, yes, guys, Monday, deadline. And the rest, you have a bit longer, but remember reps and liaisons, Monday deadline. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, please apply Monday deadline. And that leads on to the next question that I'm seeing, which is, can we apply for more than one role? I would say yes. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think yes, you can apply for more than one role. I know somebody that was a BPSA rep, but also worked in the IPS subcommittee as a LEO, which is a local exchange officer, or somebody that did a BPSA liaison and did a different type of subcommittee. So don't worry, you can apply to more than one. Let me see. I think we want to just add a bit more information. So obviously, I think, I can't remember who said this question, but the other revision tips or methods that work other than flashcards, I think Maria and Shafan also want to add a bit of their insight into it. So I'll start with Maria.
So what I do, I've kind of mentioned it before, but for learning as well, apart from Anki, I like make the notes and I put it concisely, or like I write it down on a paper and then like I stick it on my wall because I spend a lot of time in my room anyway. And then the other thing I do as well is like group study. So I'll sit with my friends and then we'll test each other. And then if we get something wrong, we'll explain it as well. And also another thing that we do is so with like mechanisms of action and stuff, obviously when you're counseling a patient, you're not going to use like jargon and like scientific terminology because you're just going to confuse them depending on the background. So trying to like explain the mechanism of action or how a drug works to like your family who don't have like a healthcare background helps with your revision as well, because they'll actually ask you questions that you won't think of. So yeah.
Thank you, Maria. Okay, Shafan.
Honestly, I think Maria said most of it there. I used to do the same. Like when it came to the lectures, I tried to summarize it. Originally, when I came to the lectures, I tried to summarize it all onto like an A4 sheet. Again, some are bigger than others, but I tried to summarize it down as small as possible and maybe stick that on my room. With mechanisms that have action, I like to draw. So I like to draw it out, stick it on my room, have a full stepped out plan for everything. And again, with counseling or with anything like that, or revision questions, it's so good for counseling, especially for OSCEs. It's so good to speak to like members of your family or other people, or even just your mates who are on different courses and things, because they will ask those real life questions you'll get in a pharmacy maybe. So again, counseling and working in friend groups, because unlike A levels or GCSEs or anything, you can't get through all of university on your own, and you can't just be secluded to yourself and not need help from anyone. You will need help from people. You need to take help from people. So revising with others can be really useful. So I think there were some other ways that helped me get through the first year.
Thank you, Shafan. Okay, I have like 2 more questions here. What is the best way to approach writing an unplanned CPD? That's one question we have here. See. Who wants to answer this question?
You could for unplanned CPD, so obviously it's in the name, so like you don't know, you don't realize you've done it until you've done it. The best way to write it up is like with a reflection. So obviously once you've got your master's degree and you're a trainee pharmacist, you'll have to actually write a lot of reflections as part of your learning outcomes. You'll have to meet like a certain amount, and one of the ways to do that is reflections as well. So for example, if you've like done an intervention for a patient, or you've got like a blister pack for them, and you've helped them like patient care wise, like say that's an example, you can like do a reflection on that. So what you've learned, what would you do next time, what went well, what could go better, and you can use the give cycle as well as a template. So that's one way.
Thank you, Maria. I have a question about, I was told to do my DBS in London, but there was no further information about this. What do I do, as I have heard DPS are imperative to pharmacy placements? So I think this question has kind of been answered, but Shafan has already answered this question. But basically, just to reiterate what he said, you should talk to a university because they're obviously going to handle your pharmacy placement. So they'll give you a bit more details about your DBS and what you have to do. And obviously requirements are different for your university. So it's not like we can advise you directly on what to do. It's better to go to your university and communicate this to them. I think there's another question just popped up. For the lecture slides, all slides say it's important. How do we know what we need and what we don't when condensing them? Do we only need to understand concepts vaguely? Erica?
Yeah, this question as well, honestly, I was getting like flashbacks to first year Erica because I struggle with this so much. I think what really helped me, and I believe it was Romy that kind of touched up on this, was just reaching out to pharmacy students in the year above you, because they're the ones that are gonna kind of spell it out to you and let you know, like what the kind of exam structure is like in terms of content wise. There are different things that different lecturers kind of like to focus on. So for example, there are some lecturers that like to put in those like weird and wonderful stats in there, but it's not necessarily for you to be able to sit in the exam and recall that 96% of this happened or whatever. It's just for you to kind of contextualize it's just to provide context to whatever they are teaching you. So to answer your question, I would definitely say that it is a hard thing to navigate through in first year, and I think you kind of just pick it up as the years go on through pharmacy school. But definitely a step in the right direction would be reaching out to I know a lot, and around this time pharmacy societies are doing kind of like back to school socials and stuff. I know Cardiff just had theirs. So just, popping along to one of those and making friends with people in older year groups and, picking their brains. If they're anything like me, like I'm a chatty patty, I love to talk. I will sit there and like chew your ear off and let you know exactly what's what. So I don't know if anyone had anything more specific to add, but my thing is university specific. So I wish I could kind of sit and be like, you don't need to know this, learn this, forget about this. But no, reach out to people in your university and hopefully they'll be able to help.
And
Thank
just
you,
quickly,
Erica.
if like the lecturer emphasizes something or repeats it to you or puts it in bold and there's many slides about it, it's gonna come up.
Yeah, one of my lecturers used to put like a square at the bottom to say, oh, this slide is important. This slide is coming up in the exam. Just note this down. And I think also Martina wanted to add a bit to it as well.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Those are really good points. I just wanted to say, I don't know if all unis do this, but majority would also add learning objectives at the beginning of their slides. So what you could do is when you finish reviewing or when you finish a lecture, try and turn that learning objective into a question and see the points that come out in the lecture that relate to that learning objective. And those are the main points from the lecture that you should have got as well. So utilize the learning objectives because they're the ones that are initially assessed in the exam as well.
Okay. Thank you, Martina. And that's going to be the last question. I just want to say thank you to everybody, all the team, all the speakers that answered and bearing with my little disorganization with the Q&A. And thank you for supporting. I'm putting the link so that our attendees are able to get as much information as they can and sources as well. I hope you guys really enjoyed. In terms of if you have any more questions, you can feel free to actually email us. We have a contact here where you can email us. And also when you obviously check out for the subcommittees, which I know you guys will be applying because you said come and apply to come be a part of the BPSA. Please, you will see the relevant persons, obviously competitions, engagements, the area coordinators for the liaisons and rep applications, and obviously me for the IPSF subcommittee applications. And please, I think also somebody put down the deadlines. So please note those deadlines, get your applications in. And we hope to see you guys again in a future webinar or a future event. We really love seeing you guys and thank you for attending.